Have you ever had a near-death experience? Or perhaps someone you know may have had a near-death experience? Well, if so, we would love to hear your story and have you as a guest on our podcast. For more information, visit NDE.world. Again, that's NDE.world. We would love to hear your story.
Welcome to the NDE World Podcast, where we explore the magical, mystical, and spiritual world of near-death experiences. And now, Ashton Lewis and Daphne Lynn.
Hello and welcome back to the NDE World Podcast. I am your host, Ashton Lewis, and my lovely co-host, Miss Daphne Lynn. Hello, Daphne.
Hello, how are you this morning?
Doing well. Absolutely fantastic not only because I'm here being able to do another podcast with you guys, but today's podcast is one of my favorite subjects about the NDE experience, and it's the actual part that we call the life review. And the life review comes in so many different forms and formats, from, a light just flashing before their eyes so quick, or to people just being brought, to this wherever they're at and shown whether on, some type of screens or some kind of holograms or some kind of visual, some kind of film strip.
And Rubik's Cubes. I mean,
Yes,
there's just all different manners and ways to present people's lives.
It's all of your life's experience.
The
Experience
good
says.
and the bad.
That's right. I look at the life review as the ultimate balance. Okay, we've even kind of coined it around here. We call it the actual purge or purging. Okay, that we are going to have to go through.
That judgment of yourself.
Right, and you are going to be your judge.
Right.
And you are the worst judge, that can
We're
be.
our own worst critics.
You're going to be your worst critic, so it's going to hit hard. But when you really start to understand this concept, you'll look at it the way I do, is how religion has came in and controlled the minds of the masses for the past, 2,000 plus years.
Yeah.
With concepts of a torture and eternal torture and punishment and, and I've heard a guy comment and ask this other guy that they were interviewing something on the lines of, well, what about your Hitlers and all these ones that's killed out millions and millions? He said, no, they are welcome just as well on the other side. They have to go through that purging. They're going to have to get, I don't want to say chimed in, but you're going to have to get locked in and see and feel all that pain that you gave people. So,
and that was their walk. That was in their soul contract, which is one of my favorite parts or experiences of the NDE,
right?
Because we all have contracts that we have to fulfill.
Right. And I'm just kind of, like I said, mentioned earlier, that starting to really learn about that myself. So it's very fascinating, but it's a very common thread.
Yes, but also in that fulfillment of the soul contract, there's free will, free choice that you can choose to do and show either empathy or apathy, like we were recently talking about on an episode. So
they give you dates, like, you want to get out when you're 37 or 73, and you can exit out of this life and go back.
Exit points throughout.
Yeah.
Your contract.
Well, we've got a show coming up here soon, one of our episodes specifically catered more to the actual soul contract.
Yes, and I can't wait for that one.
I'm looking forward to that one too. You'll probably spearhead most of that. That's kind of more your thing. But today, let's kind of focus more on the actual life review. Like I was saying,
yes.
The beauty of this is you get to go in and you get to feel the other person's pain. Okay? And we're going to play you guys some examples, and I want you to really listen to the common elements, because the overall NDE, the overall near-death experience, it is composed of, other elements. The main element really is the OBE, the out-of-body experience. Is really the only other main element of the NDE when it comes to the actual phenomena of what we're talking about here, and we'll get more into it here. So with that in mind, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. It's the perfect it's the perfect balancing out of energy. Okay, you came into this world, you did bad, you've accumulated all kind of garbage and energy and things like that, you know, and then you on the other side, you know, you're going to have to deal with that, but you go through it and you're purged, and you go back to that pure energy, that pure source, that pureness of love and everything that we call God. So, and like they said, he doesn't see things like we do down here, you know.
Right.
But don't think you're going to do something to get away with it, you know, because anything you do, you know,
you're going to have to review.
Yeah.
You're going to have to experience whether it was good. You're going to get to feel the good along with what we call the bad, the polarity of this. You're going to get to feel both.
Exactly. So that just really totally destroys your heaven and hell concepts that's been controlling people all these years.
Right.
Now, if you want to refer to this, and some people do, as hell, or the things you went through and it's in your mind, or the things you did with other people or to other people, then that's going to come back and it's going to be hell, then so be it. But we got to understand it's not a literal place of fire and torment and brimstone, sulfur and brimstone that the you know, Orthodox, you know, especially Christianity, but Orthodox religions teach, you know. But actually, it goes all the way back to the Medo-Persian with Zoroastrianism. When you want to really start getting into that, even in the afterlife concept and things like that, it goes way back. Egyptians, Atlantis, the Atlanteans, way, you know. So, and Egypt, before it was Egypt, when it was Kim, you know. So that's a different subject. But today, on the actual, talking about the actual life review, we're going to go ahead and show some examples or play some examples for you guys. But I'm going to get out my notepad.
I got mine already.
Daphne, I see you got yours.
I'm ready. I like this part.
And I want the listeners to really pay attention to the common elements, okay, of what these people are experiencing. And by the way, these are from the NDERF, NDERF.org website. You can go there and read these accounts yourself. These are actual scientific studies by Dr. Jeffrey Long and the NDERF team over there. And he's done over like 4,000 studies, personal experiences with people, and he's been doing this since way back, I don't know, 60s, 70s or something. I don't know. But
I don't know exactly when
it's
he
way
came
back.
in either.
But yeah, you can go over there to that site. And while we're on the subject of websites, don't forget to go to our actual website. That's NDE.world. And contact us and let us know your story. And we would love to have you on as a guest. It's just a simple phone call interview, so you don't even have to leave the comfort of your own home. Just let us know, and then we'll contact you. And you don't have to be nervous because you won't be recorded live. We'll just record the conversation, okay? And then we'll go back and edit it and fix it and all. So it's nothing to be nervous about. And then we will air it live, you know. So it just we would love to hear, because we're so fascinated with this, and especially if you got a very clear life review memory with your NDE, especially that would say something like that would tie in perfect with today's episode, you know. Well, without getting too far ahead of myself, let's go ahead and get these clips rolling. I've got a few of them picked out, but we've got, I don't know, maybe about a dozen or so we're going to listen to. But let's listen to, you know, one at a time. And if it's little, you know, shorter than the average length here, maybe we can do a couple or whatever. But we'll kind of play it by the time and see how many we can get, and get some feedback. How's that sound?
It's perfect.
All right. And we are rolling.
I wish that I could tell you how it really felt and what the life review is like, but I'll never be able to do it accurately. I'm hoping to give you just a slight inkling of what is available to each and every one of you. Will you be totally devastated by the crap you've brought into other people's lives? Or will you be equally enlightened and uplifted by the love and joy that you have shared in other people's lives? Well, guess what? It pretty much averages itself out. You will be responsible for yourself, judging and reliving what you have done to everything and everybody in very far-reaching ways. Very small, seemingly inconsequential things, such as the day when I, 9 years old, walked through Seneca Park and loved the appearance of a tree. In my life review, I could experience a bit of what the tree experienced in my loving it, 2 little photons of love and adoration. It was somewhat like the leaves acknowledging my presence. Can a tree experience that? Yes, it can. Don't go kicking trees anymore. You do have that effect on plants. You do have an effect on animals. You do have an effect on the universe. And in your life review, you'll be the universe and experience yourself in what you call your lifetime and how it affects the universe. In your life review, you'll be yourself absolutely, in every aspect of time, in every event, in the overall scheme of things in your lifetime. Your life. The little bugs on your eyelids that some of you don't even know exist. That's an interrelationship, you with yourself and these little entities that are living and surviving on your eyelids. When you waved a loving goodbye to a good friend the other day, did you affect the clouds up above? Did you actually affect them? Does a butterfly's wings in China affect the weather here? You better believe it does. You can learn all of that in a life review. As this takes place, you have total knowledge. You have the ability to be a psychologist, a psychiatrist, a psychoanalyst, and much more. You are your own spiritual teacher, maybe for the first and only time in your life. You are simultaneously the student and the teacher in a relationship. My life review was part of this experience also. It was absolutely, positively, everything basically from the first breath of life right through the accident. It was everything. During this life review, I experienced what I can only describe as in the eyes of Jesus Christ. Meaning, I watched and observed this entire event as if I were in the eyes of Jesus Christ. Which means unconditionally.
And we are back. So that's our first example or experience, actually, and like I said, these are real experiences of a life review. Miss Daphne, what are your first comments?
Well, I can definitely see why you picked this particular one. It covers several different things. You experience yourself as teacher and student.
I know.
And you have total knowledge.
Right.
Of everything from birth to up to the experience. And it's all covered. And I like the way he said he viewed it as Jesus. And I'm assuming that others would have other deities that they would see.
Well, if you look at it really
well.
close, he didn't view it as Jesus.
Right.
What he meant was he watched the whole event unconditionally. In other words, it wasn't a judgment.
Right.
He didn't feel like he was getting judged, even though he was judging it. But he felt it as if he was looking through the eyes of Jesus. In other words, he felt it unconditionally. He didn't feel it as a judgment. And that's one of the beauties of the life reviews.
Yes, and you know, I picked up on this one as well. At one of his little moments that he relived through that life review was he was particularly drawn to a certain tree when he was little in a park, and that tree was loving him,
energy,
loving it. So that shows right there that we on this planet, if you want to call it planet or sphere or whatever you want to, plane. Is all connected. Everything is connected and everything is life.
That's right.
So that's a beautiful little story, even touching on into the energies of things. So that's really cool that he also mentioned eyelid bugs. I mean, did you know you have eyelid bugs? Maybe that's why sometimes our eyes itch. They be crawling around or
you're
something.
all over your body. I mean,
Yeah.
You have no idea probably what kind of creatures live off of human bodies alone. Stuff that we can't even see.
Right, exactly. The
world,
creation of the seen and unseen. So yes, I
there's
get
no
that.
telling. And like he said, in that area or in that world, in that realm, he said you can see everything, even the little bugs that's feeding off your eyelashes or living there or whatever. I mean, it's something to think about.
Right.
Now,
there's beauty in that. I mean, just how everything is connected.
Yes, and I like how when you had mentioned about the actual trees, and he felt that love of that tree, and Also, that all the leaves, he said, the leaves actually even knew that he was there. And it says the leaves acknowledging you.
Yeah.
Now, I remember watching a video, it seemed like it was a couple of years back, on a guy who had an NDE. And he said his was, he was in heaven, had a heavenly-like experience, and that the flowers were singing, and they all were communicating and talking and all. And when you think about it, that everything is energy. Even today, and I recall you've mentioned it on some previous podcasts, that they have the mini pod.
Mini pod, yeah, where plants and other creation, it can be hooked up to the MIDI device, and it will sing. It will play music through the MIDI.
Yeah. And MIDI is an acronym, MIDI, that stands for musical instrument digital interface. Yeah. I'm actually a musician myself. I've been doing that for, I don't give my age away, so it's just been a long time. But what they've done, they've discovered, or we've just taken, and once you realize that everything has a frequency, okay, everything vibrates at different frequencies.
Everything is frequency, vibration, energy.
So, musically speaking, the original perfect vibration would be the 432 hertz.
Yes.
And back in the 50s, they've changed it up to the 440, and 440 actually resonates at an off vibration that's not really good for us, and all of the whole music industry is pretty much based on 440.
Which keeps you in the lower vibrations.
It keeps you in the lower vibrations. So we don't even have the proper music vibes or hertz,
Exactly.
Because, any musician will tell you we tune to 440, but it's supposed to be 432. That's a whole different subject.
Yeah. But touching on that while you're on it, there is music out there that you can research in
the 432
search engine,
or
432 music, and you can find
different
that balanced
frequencies.
music.
Correct. You can get those. And if you're a music lover, start listening to 432 hertz music. It's going to be way more balancing for your soul and your spirit
Energy,
and your mind. And trust me on this one, okay? Do a quick Google search if you want. Type in 432 HZ. Okay, that's the hertz. Okay, and 440 HZ. That's all you got to do. That'd be 432 hertz and 440 hertz. And what's going to happen, and go to the images on your search, and it'll show you the actual frequency, and you can tell
one is
beautiful,
one is
good vibration, a good frequency is going to vibrate in a beautiful geometric form or shape, whereas an off frequency is going to vibrate at a it's just not really good for you.
Yeah.
And even these 808, the bass frequencies, it's low ends that you hear in these cars going by, going the woo, 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 woo. That's my bass mimicking, by the way. I was trying to
pretty good.
Do my bass voice, and it like rattles your windows and your skull, and
trunks are rattling.
Yeah, that is called, it's known as the demonic frequency.
The 808. Yeah,
it's the 808. It literally scrambles your brain frequencies. It turns you into mush, soup. Anybody and everybody who is hearing that frequency, you can be a mile away from it, it'll start doing the damage. So it's very, very evil frequencies. But I think
that's another subject.
Yeah, we'll do that. I like that. We'll do a whole podcast, because this is spiritual things, the frequencies.
Yeah.
Correct. We'll do a whole podcast on that. Let's do that. Okay. Let's get back to the subject of the day on the life experience here, the life review. Now, I like how he says that you affect the universe and you become the universe, right? Think about that. Mm-hmm. And how anything and everything that you do affects everything.
Exactly.
Like the butterfly effect.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah.
If a butterfly, one part of the country flaps its wings,
it affects the whole
could
universe.
It turn into a storm on another part of the world? I don't know. That's a question we don't know.
Especially if everything's interconnected.
Absolutely. And then, like you had mentioned earlier, I never really looked at it like this, but it says that you are both teacher and student. Let's get a little bit deeper into that. Think about that in that regard. How would you explain that to somebody?
Yeah, you just get to, it's pretty self-explanatory on that one. It's teacher and student. You get to be teaching yourself what's going on and everything, and then as the student, you're learning the process of what's going on, and then you can come back and share that with others. But I really appreciate the total knowledge. Now, you hear this in so many of the accounts, is you get that total all-knowing knowledge. And I do believe that strictly comes from us reconnecting to Source, because absent the body is present with the Lord, that source. Energy source. So I think that's that instant download of knowledge, because He is all-knowing.
Right.
We are limited in our knowing on this plane, but there we reconnect instantly.
And you become that all-knowing. That's why you remember everything. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
Amazing, amazing. Well,
beautiful, actually.
It really is. It really is. So that pretty much kind of covers everything that I picked up on that one, you know. And another thing to listen for in these reviews is they'll tell you it pretty much started at birth. You know, some can remember actually the embryo, and they'll tell you these stories, but they basically remember everything from birth until the time of the departure or the accident,
right?
You know, or for whatever, or the out-of-body experience, whatever got them to that level.
Yep.
You know. Well, let's go ahead and take a listen to the next clip. How about that?
Sounds good.
Okay, and we are rolling.
Howard's entire life review was a lesson during which they were trying to teach him. During some events, they slowed the review down to zoom in on it. All of the things that he worked to achieve, the recognition that he had worked for in elementary school, in high school, in college, and in his career, meant nothing in this setting. Howard could feel the light being's feelings of sorrow and suffering, or joy, as his life's review unfolded. They didn't judge him, but he could feel judgment. He could sense all those things they were indifferent to. For example, they didn't consider his high school shot put record. They just didn't feel anything towards it, nor towards other things which he had taken so much pride in. What they responded to was how he had interacted with other people. His entire review would have been emotionally destructive if it hadn't been for the love he felt from the light beings. Anytime he got upset during his life review, they would turn it off for a while and just love him with a tangible love that can be felt through his entire being. Because his life review would keep tearing him down, he would feel their love every time. Despite all this, seeing his selfishness and hypocrisy made him nauseated. But through it all was their love. When his life review was finally over, they asked Howard if he had any questions. Sometimes they would replay the part of his life review in order to answer his questions.
And we are back. That one was for Mr. Howard. That guy's name was Howard. So that's the very first word you heard at the beginning of that Howard's review. Wow, there was a few things I noticed about that one.
Yeah, me too.
The one that I really loved the most is how these loving beings, they were with him at his life review, going over these elements and all these things. And there were times where they would stop and they slowed down and they zoomed into his accomplishments, what he thought was accomplishments. All the things he did here while he was on Earth. You know, he worked up and all the games he won, and he was this teacher and recognition and all this. Yeah, it said that didn't mean nothing to them. Mm-hmm. And that's for all of you out there. Any of you out there, you're chasing this world, you're wasting your time. You know, it's about love and connection with your fellow man and getting each of us through this part of the world, or getting us through this part of life, you know. So that is one of the first things that I noticed personally was actually how they slowed down and really zoomed in on his accomplishments, and it said they, you know, to them it meant nothing.
Right, exactly. And that they were indifferent to a lot of things that he was really proud of and his accomplishments. And him sensing that, you know, they were indifferent to it, he
that made him feel bad about, you know, he could sense all that.
And when it would tear him down, they projected love onto him. So that built him back up.
I know, because it said that his entire review would have been emotionally destructive. It would have totally destroyed him, because as he saw just, how he didn't love others and didn't have the time to treat others the way he should have. He was more selfish, and a lot of us are. A lot of
Right. And
we're more, more concerned about ourselves than we are our fellow man. Well, then you're more selfish, I know selfishness has a negative connotation, but it's not negative. All of us are selfish in our own way.
Right, yeah.
Because I'm not saying every single one of us out there, but most people don't put others' needs before theirs. So that means you're selfish. You put your needs first.
Right.
That's what that means.
Right.
But that's not like that on the other side. So these loving beings, kept his emotional world in balance, because it would have destroyed him.
Yeah. So that was distressing to him through that life
Said it made him
review.
sick.
Yes, exactly.
When he saw the way he treated others and just his selfishness, he said he got nauseous,
Right.
so sick, and yeah.
But I like the point that he made, that when he had questions, sometimes they would replay his life to answer questions.
Which is the first part of this, where it said they slowed down and zoomed in. So this was all kind of referring to the life experience, where, they would go over different parts and zoom in on different parts, in and out, and even go back and play something else for him to make sure that, there's an understanding there with all of it. So very good, very good. Well, let's go ahead and do another one. We've got a little bit of time left. How about
we're talking about it, but we haven't really touched on it, is the light beings. Light beings, there is a common thing in the life reviews, is
absolutely
a sense of another spirit or teacher there in your presence, angels, loved ones. There's all different stories as to different beings being there with you through your life review.
Right. That's amazing too.
It is.
Because all of these visions that you have on the other side are light, because it's not physical. So think about that. Light beings.
Energy.
Yeah. And this is the same body when Jesus in the Bible had talked about getting a glorified body. Your glorified body is that light body. It's the body that's on the other side when these people have these experiences. All of these beings are light. They're light bodies. They're glorified bodies. Okay, let's take a look at the next one. Or should I say, let's take a listen to the next one?
Yeah, let's take a listen.
All right, let's take a listen, and we are rolling.
When you have a panoramic life review, you literally relive your life in 360 degrees panorama. You see everything that's ever happened. You even see how many leaves were on the tree when you were 6 years old playing in the dirt in the front yard. You literally relive it. Next, you watch your life from a second person's point of view. In this life, we're taught to be sympathetic toward others. But from the second person's point of view, you'll feel empathy, not sympathy. After that, you literally will become every person that you've ever encountered. You will feel what it feels like to be that person, and you will feel the direct results of your interaction between you and that person. You know the story of the Book of Judgment? Guess what? When you have your panoramic life review, you are the judger. You do the judging. If you doubt me, believe this, you are the toughest judge you will ever have.
And we are back. Okay, first thing off the top.
Bing, bing, bing.
I know what you're going to say. The panoramic 360 view.
That was my exact first thing. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that in the other one. So this one, we can actually bring it out. So yes.
It's very common, that 360
Very
panoramic
common.
view in a life review. Keep that in mind when you listen to these. Yeah.
Yes,
So what are we
exactly.
going to say about it?
That is one of the common elements in NDE process, in out-of-body experience. It is a 360 perspective on everything. Like he said, the panoramic 360.
Right. So while this is going on, keep this in mind. He even brought it out himself here, but it talks about how you become connected with every person you've ever had an experience with in your life, and you will feel empathy We've been talking about that on
In the
our
second person.
episodes. And you're always going to be in the second person, okay?
Yeah.
Well, second and first if you're the student.
Right, yeah. Like one of the previous ones we listened to.
Yeah, or
you're both.
You can probably go second and third and even first person. I mean,
Right.
if you're experiencing everything in the now and everything all at once, so you can probably be all of those.
Yeah, but you become everyone as well.
And everybody else, yeah, you feel their love and their pain.
Yes, exactly. That's our. You feel directly what everyone else feels, and that you are the judge of your life.
Exactly.
Not someone else judging you. So, and think of it here on this side of the veil. We are our own worst critics, even now. So, and going to the other side where everything is pure and good, feeling the things that we have done to others is going to give us that purge. So there's beauty in this.
Right, and it says you are the judge, and it's beautiful when you really think about it, and it's nothing like what they teach you in church. Because church, you just have books. You got books written by people that you don't know who wrote it and where it came from. The beauty of this is we're having real live experiences from people all around the world, and we have the science to back it up. We have the people. I mean, this is exploding right now across the internet. I mean, the near-death experience is a very real phenomenon.
Exactly. And another thing that I'm just, my ears are tuned into this in all the process of this, all knowing. He said when he was a 6-year-old playing outside, he knew how many leaves was on the tree. So that instant download, and have knowledge of everything.
Because
that
you've been on recording all your life. Think about that. You've been recording.
Yeah.
Your mind or your brain or whatever part of the body, the hippocampus, whatever, I don't know. You can record and things like that, everything. And there's some kind of way over there on the other side. Well, here's playback. Bam, and everything that you've ever recorded is there, and it's instant. It's like you're feeling everything all at once. It's like,
I'm really appreciating this. In the last few ones, we have heard about trees. The trees are just popping out to me this morning for some reason. But myself, I have a connection with trees. I don't understand that connection as of yet, but I have always loved and been fascinated with trees, especially. And those that are just standing out in the middle of a field somewhere that the leaves are all off, the limbs have died. It's just this structure standing there. That there's beauty in that to me for some reason. And I notice no matter where I'm at, these trees pop out at me. And it's like I want to go up and touch them and just hug them. I have some kind of connection with trees, and I don't understand it. I want to tune into my higher self and see if I can find out what that is, because all my life I have been drawn to trees. And it almost makes me think, because of my name and the Greek mythology of Daphne, if you know the story,
it's from a tree.
She was turned into a tree. So I'm wondering if that's my connection with that.
I don't know. It's weird because my name Ashton is from the ash tree, Old English.
Oh yeah.
So hey, we're tree people, yay. To go with your thought there, I believe it was the actual Gospel of Peace, where Yeshua, told us the beauty and the value of actually hugging a tree.
Yes, that it's a spiritual being.
Yeah, the trees are alive, and that the trees are so rooted into Mother Earth. They've got the best connections to Mother Earth, because we're supposed to be connected to Mother Earth, but we're not. Most of us, we're walking around with shoes and
we're disconnected.
Some kind of something dividing us or taking us away from that. And unless you walk around barefooted outside in your yard, that's great. You should do more of that. And we've kind of touched base on that. But the point is, go up to a tree. Hug that tree, feel its energy, tune into it, love on it. And just like this guy brought out here, he said that those trees know that. They feel your love. Yeah. And he actually saw a tree that when he was a kid in a park, how that tree responded. He said those love particles just came out from the tree to him, and they just interacted with each other, But don't be afraid to go hug a tree. Don't be afraid
Yeah.
to hug an animal. Don't be afraid to hug another person. Don't be afraid to love. Put the love out.
Put the love vibe out, yeah. And
the
speaking
love
of the
vibe.
trees, continuing on with that for a moment, the other morning when I was leaving to go to work, that little nudge that we get from our higher self, I was walking out and I reached up and brushed my hand across the where we had trimmed the tree at. And I just touched it and I said, and I hope you have a good day too. I mean, it's just, I felt that need to connect with the tree that morning.
Yeah.
And it makes me think now, listening to this, hey, maybe we're connected on that story.
We're supposed to be, and we all are, and we just don't see it, and we just don't know that anymore.
And people probably hear some of these stories and think, oh my God, these people's crazy. Well, you know what? These are real things. And I can only imagine what the people who have experienced these NDEs, why they would feel apprehensive to sharing their story because of people's judgments
It's so out of
of
the norm.
others. Yeah.
And so against people's belief systems, and it's hard when you're dealing with people's BS, and
Yeah.
especially Orthodox religions, fundamentalist Christians, Orthodox Christians. They're so hardcore in the, hey, this is how it is, and the rest of the world's is doomed to burn forever and be tortured because you're not accepting what we say. Mm-hmm. That this shows you how far off it is, and religion is the main cause of pretty much every massacre or war we've ever been involved with throughout history in one way or another.
Oh, yeah.
Christianity is at the top
Oh, yeah. Most
of the most
definitely.
massacres and the most bloodshed in history.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be a part of that myself.
Neither do
my
I.
idea of love, my idea of God, my idea of life and all is peace and love and something from a different perspective. And I've been down those roads, and I'm not.
Oh, yeah, me too.
I'm not
Me too.
bashing it. I'm not putting
Neither
it
am
down
I.
because it got me to where I'm at now,
Exactly.
and I'm grateful for that.
Stepping stones.
Absolutely.
Baby
and,
steps.
And you have to look at that. Don't look at your religion as your one and all, that you finally reached your destination in life. Use it as a learning
Continue
tool.
to grow.
As a stepping stone and continue to grow. Correct.
Right.
Absolutely. Well said. Well, look, we're going to go ahead and wrap things up. We're just about, actually, we went a few minutes over, but that's okay. We're good. It's good subject.
Yes, I love it.
So since the life review is such a broad subject and it's broken down in different elements, we're going to be doing some more, and probably here over the next day or two, pick up with one a lot like this one here. We can listen to a lot more examples and get you really listening to these common elements that these actual experiencers have, and we can kind of get an idea of what's happening on the other side just by all the common thread and the commonalities that these experiences have, and it's all over the world.
Exactly.
So perfect. Okay, well, good deal. Let's go ahead and wrap things up, and we love you all, and peace be with you all, and until next time.
Let your light shine.
For more information about the NDE World Podcast, visit nde.world. That's nde.world.